Oh, we are live. I can see it right on the screen. It says you are live. Hey, we are live. This is How to Build Your Own Home with Keith and Melissa, my most awesome partner and wife forever and ever and a day. I'm in the truck on the way back from a conference that I went to up north. And so it was really windy, super windy, and they actually had an advisory to pull over. So, especially with the big diesel trucks, you can see them on the freeway just further north of me. So it was great. I want to talk about something because I had a really good conversation with a niece of mine, and she's recently married, has a baby on the way, and they were really concerned with the best direction to go. So I had a really good talk with them, and they have an option to buy something that's used, a home that's built in 2007. And I looked at it and I ran the numbers with her. So the numbers came out to be about $194 a square foot.
Wow.
Now it's really, really hard to build at that price point. Really hard to build. And what a lot of owner builders don't understand is that when you build a new home, the cost per square foot will give a higher appraisal than an existing home. It's just always the case. But here's the pros and cons. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Is that a good buy? Yeah, it's a good buy. Are the technologies in the home a little more advanced? Probably not. It needs a new roof. It needs a couple of things, but these are all negligible and no real foundation issues, no real like the HVAC system is still in good order. The heating, the hot water heaters is still good order. There were a couple of other things we looked at. There was a bathtub, and if you ever seen master bathrooms where there's a faucet right in the way where you step in, and it looked like it got no use because nobody could get into the bathtub. So the interesting things like that. I told her next time you're in there, go ahead and do a FaceTime with me, and we'll walk through the whole home and give me some close up on some stuff, and then maybe even negotiate the price a little bit down. The price has been dropped already by 24,000 from where it was, and so right now it's kind of a buyer's market for that. I'm sure my wife will chime in on that. Always think about the best value you can get for the moment, because you never know what you're going to run into. My wife and I bought an old home. We restored it, put a new addition on it. So we had the best of both worlds. We were able to rehab and restore an old home, an old 1919 Pioneer home. And so we were able to restore something old, keep it classical, and then add something onto it. And then, of course, we live up in the mountains as well. So always look at the real cost per square foot. And if you go to the First Steps course, there's the third module, and I emphasize this a lot. And if you really want to do a comparison, go through that course, the First Steps course, and the third module. It will help you figure out what the real cost is per square foot for a new home in your particular market. Then go look at what the cost per square foot of existing homes is selling for. Now, keep in mind that a home that was built in 2007, 2000, 1995, might price per square foot differently than one that was built in 2020 or 2025, especially something really, really recent. That cost per square foot is going to price a little differently. So when you see them side by side, you say, we can get this new home that's probably 220, 250, or 275, or even higher per square foot.
300.
Or even higher. And I've built stuff over $1,000 a square foot, folks. So that's new construction, high-end new construction. Then you look at existing homes and you say to yourself, 300 a square foot, 195 a square foot. And is it really comparable? And you have to look at that very closely. She walked through it. One of the windows had fog in it. The argon gas had gone bad. So that's a new window to replace. You start looking through the real cost of the home, and you start figuring out, I could get this one now. I can add up, and I was able to help her add up some of the costs on some of those things, those repairs to do the home. And even after all that, it was still a good deal. So I gave her some contact for a broker, my broker that my wife uses a lot. So hopefully that will work out. They're going to go through the home and do a FaceTime, and we're going to give some good analysis on that. So keep in mind the opportunities that are out there. I know a lot of people want to build, and it's great. I love it. I want to help people build a home, but I don't want them to lose out on getting into something. And right now, and I'll let my wife chime in on this, it's a different market right now than it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, even just 6 months ago, it's a different market. Even a
Yeah.
year ago, we have more inventory. We're in southern Utah, so we have more inventory right now. Sellers are willing to make concessions, so you can get a pretty good deal. I have one listing that is just, I can't even believe it. It's $25,000 than what they paid for it, and it's 2 years new. It's a great deal.
Mhm.
So we just have a lot of inventory right now, and there's not a lot of buyers in the market because the interest rate is still over 6%, and so people are just kind of sitting and waiting.
Yeah, and there's talk. I listen to some financial experts that I know that I follow pretty well, and Jim Willie, he's really phenomenal. He's actually a very good macroeconomic guy, and he had a couple of other people on his radio show, and he indicated that there's the word out. There's no guarantee on this. I just report what I hear, that there could be a 50 basis point drop in July, which is really a 0.5%. That's all it is, a 50 basis points. 0.5% on the interest rate. Now that might be something to consider. I just don't. I don't tell you what you need to do. I just report on what I'm hearing, and I'm listening to a lot of different people. So you could. That's just a month or two away, a couple of months away, and it's sometimes if you can't qualify now, you might be able to qualify then. These are things to consider. Always listen to what's going out there, and sometimes the Federal Reserve says one thing and they do another thing. And they did that last year. They said they were going to drop the interest rates. They didn't. They kept them pretty much flat.
Yep.
So you got to be careful with that. What they say is not always what they do.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
I do want to say one thing about the real estate market right now, that with this just kind of the interest rate around 6%, you can actually ask the seller for closing costs and buy down your rate. It would be better to get that money and buy down the rate
Mhm.
for you to get in. And because I have a client right now that the HOA was just a little bit too much for them, and so they bought down the rate, and then their loan debt to income was made it possible. And then when the interest rate drops, they can refinance. And right now they're not in a big market with everybody chasing after homes, because if the interest rate drops 0.5% to 1%, there's going to be more buyers in the market, and then we'll get that change again where it's could go into a seller's market. Prices for homes could go up. So it really is a good time if you qualify, and it works into your financial and what you want to create for you and your family to purchase right now. I would look
yeah,
into.
and it's just be aware, and like my wife is saying, just listen to what's going on out there in the market. And one other thing my niece brought up was that they have the capacity to do a 15-year mortgage. And then my brother and I, we kind of talked out of that, because if there's two incomes, it's great, you can pay for it. But if they have a baby and one can't work and it's getting real difficult, yeah, then you're stuck with that higher mortgage interest, a 15-year mortgage. And the advice would be to get the 30-year and then still go after paying it off as soon as you possibly can. And that lower mortgage rate or mortgage payment, a monthly payment, is kind of a cushion to fall back on if you need to. My wife and I have been through that. Having a lower mortgage payment allows for those uncertain times.
Tyler Kelsch, Smiler.
That's my son they're calling there. So again, there's a lot of talk with family, talk with friends, get a good broker, get a good realtor, and talk with them, listen to them, get a feel.
And I'm connected through the whole country. I even have a few international people. So if you want a good referral for a realtor, just message me and I can get you a good one in your city.
Yeah.
And another
Let's
thing,
take
though,
a couple of questions.
Keith, another thing to
Go ahead.
think of, on a 15-year mortgage rate, it is a smaller percentage too. So that's kind of hard, but it does bind you pretty
Yeah.
tight. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Let's see here. Hey, Brady, we're glad to see you. Yeah, Brady has a good comment. Buy when others are
Okay.
fearful. Okay,
Yep,
we have,
buy others when they're fearful.
Keith, look at your email. It looks like Ugly Spaceship emailed you about courses, the courses.
Okay.
See if you can find it. And Doug was really nice. I'm sorry we had that technical difficulty last week. We have never had that, and we do not know what was going on.
Yeah.
And so Doug was nice enough to do screenshot for some of those questions. Keith, the first one, I'm sorry, I know you're probably looking, but what loans can I apply for?
Nothing's come through yet.
I think it's in the courses is what he said.
Okay, go ahead and read that one.
Okay, this is from Bateman 3488. I'm going to try and copy it. And it's what loans can I apply for to get the house built? I'm going to put it in the comments.
Okay. I'll let you plug some of those in, and I'll just read the ones that have been popped up already, because we got quite a few coming in on our. So go to the most recent one.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, we'll get back to your loan question, because that is.
Read it. I can't read it in the.
You can't read it?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about real hardwood floors? Ooh,
Love.
I have an opinion on that.
Yeah,
I love hardwood floors. We have real hardwood, and then it's engineered, but is that
the engineered is going to be better than solid hardwood, and you have to draw the distinction between the two. Solid hardwood is going to have less of a capacity for deflection. It's going to want to do its thing. Engineered floor has layers and webbing on it, where it's wood layered on wood, and it's engineered, and it can handle temperature fluctuations, humidity fluctuations a lot better than solid wood. I found a company that I liked, and I tried their product, and it was really hard to deal with. It was a floating floor, solid wood, very well engineered, but even so, some of the wood planks would just swell up just a little bit, and this was for a dance floor, so it wasn't working very well. We had to plane some of them down, restain and reseal them. It wasn't easy. So be very careful about solid wood, but engineered wood, and if it's glued down. If it's glued down, you're not going to have the deflection like you will with a floating floor. Floating floors are great. They're quick to put down, but you can't put them underneath vanities and counters and cabinets. It's really, really hard. And if you do, you have to put 1/4 inch around, and you have to hide that cut mark. And so I'm a real big fan of, engineered wood glued down. So.
And I like it because you can keep it clean. You can put rugs down if you want rugs, but it just, to me, it gives a warm, cozy feeling into a home than just harsh tiles. We have tile in our bathroom because it's just easy to clean and everything, but I love wood. It's so cozy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you read that one.
This is from David Parker, 2173. Is there an exterior sheeting that won't burn or be eaten by termites and mold?
Yeah, it's a treated exterior sheeting. It's the same as your green plate you put on the bottom of your exterior walls. If you don't know that, when you put in the bottom plate and you land it on the J-bolts and you bolt it down to the foundation, that first piece of wood there is what's called a green board or treated lumber. They do have some sheeting that it's more like a plywood, and it's green looking, and it's treated. It's got like a formaldehyde and other treatment products in it. So if you do have some issues with those types of things with your health, you might want to look into that. But you can put that on the exterior. However, I have found that if you treat the bottom 1.5 foot of your OSB, regular wafer board, and I love to use a little thicker wafer board. So if you do treat that with a product for the first foot or so, and keep air and moisture out. That's your weakest point of the foundation, is right underneath there. And when I put a product on my foundation, I have a better blower door test, which is where they come in, pressurize the entire house, seal up the front door, seal up all the vents, and they pressurize the house, and they see how well it holds that pressure. That's called a blower door test. And I get a better, higher rating on my blower door test because I seal that bottom plate and I go at least a foot up, and it really helps with that. Your weakest point for rot and termites is under your windows. And that's where water can hit the window, drain down. If it's not properly flashed and papered and all that kind of stuff, it can hit that OSB. And once it hits that OSB and that substrate, it can actually work its way into it and rot over time. As for fire, I would rather put a good mineral wool on the outside of a home rather than try to get some exterior sheeting. Why put money into an exterior sheeting when you put the money into an exterior insulation that's far more fire retardant than the actual sheeting itself? So always, and I do a lot. That's the new code. The new International Residential Code is for an exterior thermal envelope, and a lot of jurisdictions are starting to adopt that. So looking, and I just found a product I really like. I called a company, and I can't buy it on any local store. I can't buy it through a local supplier without getting them to adopt it. But it's a higher rating compression strength mineral wool. So it has an 80, 120, and 140 high PSI strength. And the reason why I'm asking for that is that if I put a shingle or a small piece of siding on that, when I nail it, it's not going to get indented into the insulation. That the insulation is so rigid, I can actually nail all the way through it and hit the substrate, the sheeting material, through the other side of the insulation. That's what I'm trying to go for. And foam doesn't do it. Foam, polyiso foam is not rigid enough. So I've ordered a sample product of this. It's supposed to come, I hope, in the next week or so. If I test it and it works out right, I'll let everybody know. But I'm always looking for the perfect insulation product on the exterior of a home. And we'll see how this one comes out. But yeah, good question. Focus in on the things that are more beneficial, that solve all the problems you're looking for, not in the sheeting, but in a different product you apply to the sheeting. Okay.
And that mineral wool is also mold proof, right?
Yes, it is. It's all mold proof. Yep.
Okay. This is one of the questions from last week that we had that thing. It's from Bateman 3488. What loans can I apply for to get the house built? And yeah, the best way is to go to your local banks and credit unions and see if they'll lend you the money. And Keith has a letter in our self-managed program at howtobuildyourownhome.com. In the self-managed program, there's a sample letter that you can take to your bank and show them the program that you're in. And we've had a couple of our students get their loans because of the program that they're in. Anything you want to add?
Is ask around, because a mortgage broker is somewhat a little more diversified than an actual lender. A lender won't, at a bank, they won't tell you what other banks and other institutions are willing to do for you. So a broker has a wide reach, like an insurance broker. They have a wide reach of different opportunities. That's where you have to talk, ask around, know if you know anybody and a friend or family that's really good at that, and they should have at least 5 to 10 years of experience. So they have resources. They know where they can go for lending. And a lot of these institutions that lend, they're not traditional banks. They're just deep pockets that have opportunities for brokers, and brokers make those relationships. And a lot of them are temporary. They will buy the loan, that they will offer the opportunity, and then they'll sell it to another institution. Like we have a mortgage that's been sold 3 times since November of last year. And so you'll see that happen. And sometimes it's a pain trying to keep track of where do I send the mortgage payment. So I look for brokers. I'm a fan of them. I've had a lot more success with brokers than I have just going straight to a bank.
Okay, this one is from C Manning 3. It said, we made our plans too big and can't afford them. That happens a lot. We are interested in your sunset plans. If we went that route, would the 3-bed, 3-bath side of the house be under $400K to construct in northern Utah?
Yeah, that comes with the garage as an option, above the garage where you could have another living space or even an ADU rental. And I have clients that actually built that. I have a client now, a student that's actually purchased that plan and going with it. I'm curious to know how many square feet you were going for. That would be interesting.
On their original one, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And second of all, 400K, does that include the land? Do you already have the land purchased?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but it the home that we built, how many years ago was that?
That's about 2 years ago now.
Yeah, and there was their land. I don't know. Are we allowed to talk numbers? Nobody knows.
Yeah, we can. We built that one, including the land, and I'll give you some numbers.
It was
I don't need to give
475. It was 475, and the land was 75. So they
Correct.
built it for 400, but it didn't include the garage.
It didn't include the garage, but at the end of the build, we had roughly 40,000 left over, of which we were able to put into some other things like the garage in the back. So it's really, and the only reason why I did that is if I had complete control. They didn't have any custom things that they could change. However, I did take into consideration some of the needs that they had for special needs in their family. So it's a matter of, and then here's the other thing. If you did it in a build, you'd actually save probably another 10%, which is another 40,000 by not paying a general contractor. So it depends on if you have the, and I had to throw in some costs there for overhead insurance, stuff like that. But it's possible. It's a matter of how disciplined you are with it.
Yeah. They didn't have any upgrades. Like it was, the upgrade was that it was new. And I think they had concrete floors, which were beautiful. But
we had an aluminum roof, which was a higher grade roof. And that's just me. I don't do anything else other than that type of a roof. And that really is going to be a lasting quality for that home for a long, long time. So it's possible with that house plan. And it gives you the option for growing down the road and adding the garage later on. So it's a really streamlined plan. It's really, really efficiently designed. So I want to put on the house plan, honey, that we recently did has 2 ADUs.
Okay. Well, we can put that on the website.
We want to give us a couple weeks, hopefully, and I'm going to talk with my architect. He's excited. Yeah, put it on there because that is a home where you could get into it. It might be a little more to manage on the mortgage. But if your local jurisdiction at least allows for 1 ADU, that's $1,300, $1,400, $1,800 a month. Who knows? And that really offsets your costs. And that's just 1 ADU. So in my local community, in my town, they allow for 2 ADUs. So check with your local building office, find out what they allow for. But that plan would be just stellar for a lot of families. So.
Okay. This is Ugly Spaceship. I'll be building slab on grade, but we'll need approximately 18 to 24 inches of red dirt. Should I level the land before I add red dirt or save on red dirt and only add what is needed? Are you okay there, honey?
Say that again. I'm running my car and it was saying, "Are you still here?" Yes, I'm still here. Say that again.
Oh my, the things we do so we can be with you today. We love you guys so much. Okay. I'll be building a slab on grade, but we'll need approximately 18 to 24 inches of red dirt. Should I level the land before I add red dirt or save on red dirt and only add what is needed?
I'd have to look at the elevation, and these are questions on elevation. And if you don't set the home just right, you're not going to have proper drainage from the home, or you could have possibly drainage into the home, and you want to make sure you solve for that. And look at the geotech report and ask if it's native soils or if it's imported. And if it's imported, where can you import from, and what type can you import from? Is it a city spec road base, or what is it? Whenever I do a slab on grade, I'm going to import at least 6 inches of road base. And because I want a real stable foundation underneath that slab. So I actually factor that in on the builds of a lot of my homes. So good question. I wish I could see the site and look at the lay of the land where things are sitting right now, and I can get some better advice. But more importantly, look at that geotech report and read that carefully, and that's going to really tell you where to go. Okay.
Sorry, I had to let the dog out, and now she ran away. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Carrie Cyril Heiser. Okay. How important is a high quality, such as exterior mineral wool bats, insulation on a summer house, Northwest Missouri?
Well, it's a summer house, so it's not being utilized a lot. And if you're not worried about utility costs for that particular time, that's it's not much of a return on investment. The only real value of that is that it's resale and on its quality of build and on its lasting quality over a period of time. Mineral wool is just a super. I have a home I built in the woods, and it didn't burn down because the mineral wool was probably a 15 to 20% factor in keeping flames and heat from getting into the substrate of the framing. I already had hardy on it, but with the hardy and the mineral wool, I know the mineral wool had a factor in that because I had 1.5 inches of that stuff around the entire envelope of my home. And that's just fire. I'm not talking about mold. I'm not talking about extra R value on the home. That's another R 6.63 on the envelope of the home. These are all values, and it's really hard to communicate that to appraisers. So whenever I have a home that I finish, I do a complete specifications for appraisal. It's in your download section.
Yeah.
Download that. I have something there as a template. Delete and add the features that you put in your home. So when you go get an appraiser, they don't just do it willy-nilly. They have something to go on. And make sure you give them the budget on that and be honest with the budget. Include your builder fee, include a realtor fee. Get that value properly where it is to match with other market rate homes. Don't try to circumvent that. Make sure you hit what's really the real cost if you were a builder, if you were just building this in the open market. So again, it's the value you want for that home that means something to you, or you want it lasting for others, for family. I build homes for families I build mountain homes, summer homes like you're talking about, where they come to it over time, but they don't want any maintenance at all, none whatsoever. So if you want to come to a mountain home or a summer home and you don't want to, oh God, the paint is sure peeling. Oh, that's so wear and tear. That's a factor. And you say to yourself, you want to come to it without having to worry about it. These are things to think about and where you want to put your money. Okay. Really good question.
I think it would be well worth it, just because it would, the fire and insulation factor, that if you did want to go visit it in the winter, or just protect your plumbing too. If you can afford it, I would do it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with the next one.
Okay. Hi, Kai. Good to see you. Thanks. Thank you for being here. And yes, let's do a thumbs up. That helps get it out. And also, I did some analytics, And 70% of you that watch our show are not even subscribed. So subscribe. It'll make our whole family happy. Okay, Venom Bunny 94. Western Washington build. Which is best? Subfloor, plywood, OSB, edge gold, etc.
I like just the regular OSB 3/4 inch OSB, but here's something you can think about. You're in Western Washington. You might deal with a lot of rain, and I always factor in weather. Like I've done 2 mountain homes over the winter now. After we got the subfloor in, I went ahead and covered the floor with a good decking product material, and you've seen some of that product that I use. And as the weather started to get bad, I was protecting that subfloor. Had I not done that, I've seen a lot of builders, that subfloor goes to town, and they don't talk about that with the client because they've just figured it's all going to get buried in flooring, which oftentimes it does, but they don't know that there's some damage that has occurred. So I always protect that subfloor as best I possibly can. If you use the zip system, that's where I love the zip system on the roof and on the subfloor, because it helps to have that coating on there that really protects from any damage on there. So if you're going to deal like in Washington, especially if you're in the eastern part of Washington, constant rain, you're going to deal with that. And it's nice to be able to get that protected as the construction process continues. So I hope that answers your question. Just think about how weather impacts your whole build process, and that's going to really tell you what you need to do.
Sarah's responding. To Hannah Banana. I am so sorry, Hannah Banana. So I just put a response in there about your loan. I hope you can get that fixed.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to C. Manning 3. Original plans, 28 square feet with 600 square feet bonus room. Property is paid for, 0.4 of an acre. I think this one is back up. Is this one back up to?
Is that with the sunset plan?
Well, we made our plans too big. Okay, so it was 28, but the sunset plan, I can't remember the size for the sunset plan.
I think it's close.
It was under 28. Yeah.
Yeah, it's under that.
And the 600 bonus. The only thing I could think of is on your original plans, if you closed off the 600 bonus and just left the door there and then finished that later. I don't know.
Yeah, I advised somebody to do that just recently. They got it framed in and they just sealed it off so they can go into it later on.
But yeah, we would love to help you with the sunset plan if that works for you too.
Yeah, you just reach out to me and mention that we talked on this, and I can tell you that's for the plan only. If you need a site plan done, then there's an additional cost that Lonnie can do that, and he can place it on the site, make sure he identifies where the fire hydrant and water and the gas are all entering into the property. And then if there's any tweaks, you can get those tweaks done real quick from him. And then we do have an engineer who's licensed in close to 49 states or 40 or so states. And more than likely, he should be able to help you with some engineered plans. And it shouldn't cost you more because it's a reuse. He just might look at your geotech and look at your seismic requirements in your particular area and might make a few adjustments, but it shouldn't cost too much because it's mostly just a reuse. So there are some costs after you purchase the plan, but that was my sister-in-law. But yeah, reach out to us and let us know what you're doing.
Okay, the next one. What brand is the aluminum roofing?
It's Permalock.
Permalock.
Yeah.
Permalock. Permalock.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Craig Lofgreen, self-managed student. Yay. Okay, OmniBlock finished. Great. Framing just started. Couldn't have done this without you. Big thanks. Oh, you got to send us pictures, or maybe you already did on Discord, so I'll have to go look. Okay, that is so exciting. I think I have something for you. Let's see. I think I'm learning new things, and I think there is a sound here. Yay. Oh, back to comments. Try to make it fun. Okay, let's see. Todd Root 1757. When I find land, hopefully owner financed, what is the length of time for a contract to have a survey and a perk test done? This would be contingency regarding it perks.
Maybe 30 days.
Yeah, how
You need-
quickly can get our guys out there? Is it usually they could get out there 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Right. I've had some bad spells with a couple of geotechs lately, but you want to ask them. He says, I'm in a due diligence period. How soon can we get these geotech things done? And they should be honest with you. As long as you say, I'm in a due diligence period, and you say it's 30 days and I have to have all this done by XYZ. Can you do it? And if they can and they feel confident about it, then go ahead. But if they're totally booked up, then they should be honest about that, and then go on to the next one.
Okay. Here we go. Trucking Travels 23. What's your thoughts on zip, our insulated sheathing building in Las Vegas?
If it's insulated, I like it. If it's not insulated, I'm not interested in it, because I've seen too much go into the framing envelope without additional value in the insulation envelope of the home. For example, I'd much rather get a regular basic, sheeting product on the roof and put the money into better insulation, more insulation, because that's greater value to the home. It's kind of like you can go buy an undergarment, a t-shirt, okay, maybe a simple Fruit of the Loom, or you can get a very high-end, super expensive t-shirt underneath there, but it's really doing the same thing. I'd rather, in a cold day, I'd rather have a sweater on. I'd rather have something that when I walk outside, I'm not going to freeze myself off. So I'm looking for added value for inclement weather. And for example, I think you're in Vegas there. You've got some heat there issues. Now, if you have some additional insulation on the outside, what happens? Heat chases cold. So if the inside of your home is 72 degrees, but it's 110 outside, there's a constant drive to push that heat and track out that cold air on the inside. So if you can have that insulation on the outside, you can actually slow that down, create a thermal break on the outside, again, protecting that thermos, which is really what you're protecting, that cool thermos on the inside of the home. That's more valuable than the sheeting. So go figure.
Okay, this is from David Parker, 2173. Does Permalock have a Spanish barrel aluminum shingle?
No, they don't. There's other products that do that, and it's a low profile S, but you're not going to get a high profile S tile look with any kind of metal roofing. You might get something low profile, but that's about it. And then you can't walk on it very well because you dent the heck out of it. So if you can, that's where you're going to have to go with terracotta look, just regular tile, cement tile. And of course, there's issues with that. It's a thermal mass you're putting right on your roof, which is absorbing temperatures all day long. And as soon as the sun goes down, that heat on that roof, that tile roof, is going to radiate back into the atmosphere of the attic for hours. It's not going to cool off real quick. So metal roofs will cool off much faster, especially aluminum. And so that's why I like, metal roofs, because they cool off much faster. Okay.
The Ma Pearl. Hey, good to see you again. Western Washington, 1458 square foot build, 2-car garage and covered porch. Aluminum shingle with gutters, bid over $42,000. Standing seam over $54,000. Permalock only sells to a couple of companies.
Yeah, the aluminum is going to be a lower price than a standing seam, and it's the superior roof to put on. But I'm telling you right now, 1,400 square feet, if that's on one single level, you're probably looking at maybe 18, 14 square, and that's not much. you're paying really, really high dollar amount for labor.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that the price for materials on that is not even half that. It could be in the $12,000 range for all the materials, and then you're paying a high price for labor. Now, is that fair? No, I like labor to be between 30 and 50%, but once labor gets way over 50%, I start questioning the bid. I start questioning the estimate that's being delivered out there. And a lot of people, I know roofers back east, it's called East Coast Metal Roofing, something like that. And they just charge 60, 70, 80% over the cost of the materials, and they do that in labor, and they get away with it because people have no other means to get that roof. They have no other resources to put that roof on, and they want that roof, and so they'll pay for it. And so I know that if you did asphalt on that, I hate asphalt. I do not like asphalt. In fact, Europe, asphalt is considered a temporary roof in a lot of countries in Europe. They actually consider asphalt equal to ice and water shield, and they just put it on temporarily until the roof is ready to be finished, and then they go put it on something like slate or something permanent on the roof. So you could do that and then come back and do the aluminum later just to get on the home. It's not my recommendation, but and you can get some bids elsewhere. And you can hunt around for labor that knows how to install that, which is kind of hard to find. The only way to really do that and to make it easy is to not have any valleys. If you don't have any valleys on your home, on your roof, then it's easier for people to install that and cut it in just perfect. The minute you have valleys, then it makes installing that roof a little more complicated. So, and that way somebody said, well, I've done asphalt quite a while. I've done all kinds of roof. Then if there's no valleys to cut in, then it's not that hard. They can easily figure that out. So that's where you could possibly get a crew to come on board, install it. The other last thing they'll mention on there is don't frame a roof that's over an 812 pitch. If you're 812 and above over it, then you're also increasing the complexity to install that roof. If you're between a 5 and 6, between a 5 and 712 pitch, which is a perfect pitch for that particular roof, and it's easier to install, and you don't feel like you're going to fall off the roof when you're up there, that's where it's easy to install. People can work it out. People can figure it out, and they can put it together. So all these things are factors that I think about when I'm designing a home. Where the labor costs are, where the difficulty is, and if I have to get a new, if I'm doing a home right now for a client, signed a contract earlier this week. We're going to do a restoration project, and they want aluminum shingle on the entire exterior wall of the home.
Wow.
And so I sent off the material costs on that, and I'm hoping to see if I can get it back and maybe beat the bid on some other products that they were approving. So I go through this all the time, and I think of complexity of install, complexity of something that somebody's perhaps never done before, but I know it can be done. They just have to be shown a little bit, and they're on their way. So good question. Good question.
Okay. Ugly spaceship. My home will be built in South Louisiana. I had a friend that just moved out of Louisiana. Sorry. Many things you talk about just aren't done down here. Almost no one does a geofence, or she probably means the geotech report. No perk tests needed, et cetera, et cetera. Will your course be okay for me?
Yes, it will be okay with you. Just keep in mind you're probably in it's called a parish down there in Louisiana, and the parishes are very, very small. They're not like counties out west here. In fact, if you look at Louisiana, it's broken up into these smaller parishes, and they don't have the sophistication, and they don't typically have the infrastructure or the manpower to check, inspect, all that kind of stuff. You might even have just a simple application. You go out and do your thing, and you're on your way. There's some counties in Texas that are like that. There's no heavy-handed authority kind of watching you and checking you and all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of places like this in the United States, especially the Midwest. So that's actually to your favor. However, you don't have a second pair of eyes looking at things and checking off things, passing off things. That's where the checklists come into play. When you have the checklists, you download the checklist, you watch the video, and you go to the job and you have 4 or 5 checklists for framing, 3 or 4 checklists for plumbing. And you can actually walk on a job, look at a checklist and say, can you show me this? And they show you that and you check it off. And it gives you that edge that you might not have because you don't have an inspection team or a permitting office that will help you with that. So yes, the program is really, really helpful for that. Okay. And if you don't require a geotech, that's something I do recommend, or at least talk with a geologist locally. Hey, I'm looking to build here. Do you recommend that? Oh yeah, that's really bad. We know there's some collapsible soils there. We highly recommend you have a test pit done before you actually begin. Because how many times have you heard homes, oh, pour this home, they had a foundation crack or something like that. And it's all because they didn't prep the soil properly. And the only way they know how to do that is if there's a geotech engineer that actually tells you what to do. So it's a real good safety measure,
Okay, EMQZ8WJ. Hello, Keith and Melissa. What are your thoughts on putting a radiant barrier of some kind up in your attic to try to help cool off your attic? Will it do more harm than good? Thanks.
That's why I like the aluminum roof, because it's a radiant barrier on top of the roof. That's where it needs to be, especially if you're in a hot climate. If you're in a colder climate, then they have an OSB material that you can buy that has a radiant barrier affixed to the under part of the sheeting, and that's going to keep heat in during the winter time. Again, it's where your environment's at. If you're in a southern dry hot climate, or if you're in a northern colder climate, or 9 months of the year it's cold, these all change how you go about doing what you want to do. But the radiant barrier underneath the OSB is the most affordable, and it's easy to install. As the framers are framing the house, they flip it down and make sure that that foil part is facing downward, and it's really nice. There's a lot of builders in my particular area who do that. They put that radiant barrier on there, and it actually helps to some degree during the summer to refract heat and whatnot back out through the substrate, back out through the tile, back out into the atmosphere. So it doesn't really have the full capacity to reach through and radiate heat into the attic space. But again, in hotter climates, it's better to just have it right on top of the roof. But that's a different roofing product. There's a different technology. It's a different approach. Okay. Good question, though. It's not that much of a cost, believe it or not. You can go to a local supply company and ask them, what's it cost to have that my sheeting have a radiant barrier on it? And they'll tell you. Okay.
Okay, all things Rocco. I bought self-managed course a while back. How do I join Discord? Okay, it comes from my email. I did put my email in the chat here, and maybe it went to your spam or promotions folder. And the link, Discord link, only works for a couple of days. So you need to reply back to me or send me an email with your email that you signed up in the course, and I will send you a new link that you can sign up at. Okay? Yeah, we want you in there. There's a lot of conversations and a lot of learning and stuff. Okay, let's see. Oh, back to the Ma Pearl. No valleys on our roof, 512 pitch, simple roof, Permalock won't sell us the product.
We'll say that again.
The Ma Pearl, she has no valleys on her roof, 512 pitch, simple roof. Permalock won't sell us the product because they want the warranty to be, they want it to be installed properly so it has the warranty, because it's a 100-year warranty, right?
Yeah, manufacturer's warranty if it's installed right. Yeah, I need to talk with Jake on that and say I would like to buy this, but I don't need to have the warranty. I know it's a great product, and typically if you just send in the plans, he'll he'll give you a bid on the total material costs. So I need to chit chat with him.
Brady brings up a good point. The bids from a contractor not familiar with the product, and so they increase their price to cover unknowns. Will Permalock look recommended a local installer familiar with the product? Even if they have to travel further, maybe that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Okay. David Parker, what is your favorite Permalock aluminum shingle, both aesthetically and functionally?
What is your favorite Permalock aluminum shingle? They have different embossed looks. One's a slate, one's an embossed slate, and the other one's just an embossed look. I like the embossed look, and then they have some standard colors that are 1 through 9. I like the Tudor brown. Tudor brown is a good look. So is the black. Those are kind of popular right now. Then they have some high-end patina colors too, which are a little pricey, but they're both good too. The paint warranty on that roof is a 50-year warranty on paint, which is a lot longer warranty than any asphalt, any tile roof that I've ever seen. Just the paint warranty alone on that is pretty phenomenal. And it's only 40 pounds per square. I don't know if that means anything to you folks, but if you've tried to take one bundle of asphalt shingles on your shoulder, up a ladder, on a roof, it's heavy. It's super heavy. And it's around 300, 400 pounds per 10 by 10 squash section. Tile roofs are over 800 pounds per 10 foot by 10 foot section on a roof. The aluminum shingle is 40 pounds. You can take a full square up on your shoulder on a roof. To me, that's just super labor efficiency. And a lot of people don't think about that. When you load a tile roof, you have to have a whole crew come and load it with a pulley system to put it up there, and it's backbreaking. It's super backbreaking. So I wish that we could just change our perspective on roofing products just for a little bit and think, okay, when you put something on a roof, would you like it to be there for just 15 years or 100 years? Think about that. My wife and I bought an old Pioneer home, we had to replace the roof. It had 4 layers on there, which is beyond code. You can't put more than 3 layers on a roof. After 3 layers, the entire thing has to be stripped off. Well, in 100 years, and you did asphalt shingle on a roof, how many times are you're gonna put new asphalt shingles on 100 years? Probably at least 3 times, possibly 4 and 5 times if there's not proper ventilation in a roof. And with asphalt shingles, you need to ventilate your roof. So think about that. Would you rather pay for 3 or 4 roofs in the course of 100 years or just 1? That's the way I think. I'm always thinking about the future, always thinking about family, those who inherit the house, what the value is going to be to them over time. We live in every home I've done that I put aluminum shingle roofs on. They look sparkly new. They look like our house. We've had it on how long now? 10 years, 15 years? It still looks phenomenal. So I love that kind of material. I love that kind of technology. I love that kind of value in a home. So hope that answers you.
Yeah, let me get these. There's a few questions from last week that Doug emailed me.
Okay.
And let me get up here. Doug says, after you put up the exterior mineral wool, what is next? Furring strips or what?
It depends on what you put on after that. Like I was mentioning with that mineral wool, which has a higher PSI strength, and there's 80, 120, and 140. I'm waiting to see how rigid that is. And if I can handle a nail to put a shingle on there, then I don't need to do any furring strips. It would handle for sure a batten board product because you have a big board going up there, and that board can easily take a nail through it. But a shingle or some other smaller product, will it bend or not inside the insulation? If it does, then you put some furring strips up there. So I don't like furring strip. It's just another step I can do away with if I can. And so that's why I'm very interested in this new product to see what happens. But I've done shingles, large shake shingles, and it's a kind of a wide 4-foot length shingle, and 9-10 inches high, and that handles a nice, especially some harder finish nails that go all the way through the insulation. But something smaller like an aluminum shingle, like I'm trying to figure out with another home, aluminum is so bendable, it will, the flap that you put the nail through might just get messed up in the insulation. So these are things I'm looking at to see if I can't combine technology to make for something very efficient. So
okay, here is, let's see here. This from last week. Parker Nash, ourselves so far, but lining up the trades to speed things up now that the weather is good, documenting the build on the YouTube channel, Ronnie Nash. Just want to say thank you for all the info. Keep it coming.
okay, you're welcome, Ronnie. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Good job for doing a YouTube channel. I think Brady has one too, and he's in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it.
Great. We really want to move in the direction of allowing people to send us videos on things they learn, things they do. If you're interested in that, please reach out to us through Contact the Instructor. We'll give you some directions on uploading a video, and we'll edit it for you. If you're really interested in that, we want to kind of help.
Wait a minute. That's a lot of work editing, honey. Don't volunteer that.
Well, if you just have like 3 or 4 B-roll and then a main video you did, that's not too bad to put together.
No,
but if it's like
we
36
are behind on B-roll.
yeah,
I mean, on editing.
so I really want
to out.
I really want to allow opportunities, because it's how to build your own home, and we are all mentors to each other. We help each other out. This is something we've been wanting to do for some time, to really help out the outreach and the community, and because we learn from each other, we really do.
Yeah, our minds have a lot more ideas than what our bodies can actually do, and so I have to nip that editing part in the butt, because we are behind on videos because of the editing.
We are behind.
So it was a good thought, honey. You're always giving. I appreciate that. But
okay. Anything else here before we go? We're almost done with our hour.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, everyone. We're so glad you came today.
Yeah, we'll be back next time. And like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. And go to howtobuildyourownhome.com. Take the First Steps course. It's really, really helpful. It's got some stuff in there that will open your eyes. And then make sure, and I get this happen to me all the time, hey, I bought the First Steps course and I went ahead and bought the second course, but I forgot to see that there was a coupon code in the last class of this First Steps course. Make sure you use that coupon code. It'll give you a discount for the self-managed course. So do that, and we'll be here next week, every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So
yeah, and in Discord, there is a place, there's a channel, a file where you can post your updates, and people have been putting their videos and photos. So there is a place for updates. Okay. Just message me in Discord if you can't find it, and I'll help you.
Yeah. And if you have questions, you're in the self-managed course, go ahead and message the instructor in any particular course module you're in, and I respond to those really, really quickly. And you'll see as you go through the course that there's a lot of communication with a lot of students over the course of the past couple of years. So I respond to those. And if you have a specific question, message me in the course. Okay.
Yeah, well, Keith is way better at email than me.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. It's great. We had a great time.